Jeff.
And we're live.
We're late because of Jeff.
Sorry, guys. It's my fault that we're late. Winona felt the need to. Yeah. Okay. You can get it out of your system now.
No, I did it. It's already done. I said my piece.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, my earbuds just got flooded with the stream in the other window. I ended up in two tabs.
Yeah, same.
So what's going on, everybody? I am your host, Jeff DeWitt. This is VKH Live. With me, as always, or as usual, is Winona.
What's up?
And joining us is a very special guest, Lori from, returning to the show, Lori from V-Star Promotion. How's it going, Lori?
Hi, everyone. Everything's going pretty decent. I hope everything's fine for everybody listening.
Yeah. So, Lori, why don't you go ahead and just for anybody who still may not know about you, why don't you go ahead and give a quick introduction and maybe talk about which the bands you guys represent and what you guys do, and give any links that people can check out.
Okay, so I'm the head of V-Star Promotion, and V-Star Promotion is a still rather small but growing company based in Osaka, Japan. But we have people working in America and Australia and several other countries, and we basically work to promote visual kei bands overseas. And by doing that, we do social media, networking, promotion, sales. We try to organize events. Basically, we do a little bit of everything to promote visual kei internationally. We work with a lot of smaller bands, but many other bands as well. So we work with Rides in Rebellion, Deviluf, Viva Rush, but also a lot of other bands. We've done some work with Shiva. We've done some work with Ashte. Many bands, but also we work with some of your followers might know him, Visual Kei Oyaji, so Seichi Hoshiko. So that's something that we're looking forward to really bringing more to the table in the future. So hopefully check out the V-Star Promotion Facebook page for more information on the various things that we do. Check out all of the bands I've just mentioned, and of course check out Visual Kei Oyaji.
Is Visual Kei Oyaji-san gonna have a US debut? Is that what we're trying to do?
I'd love to bring him overseas.
That would be great.
He's
that'd be epic.
Incredibly smart man, and it's my belief that there's nobody in the industry that knows as much as he does.
Yeah, I mean, very true. Right, thanks for that, Lori, and chat. I have links to everything that she just talked about in the description. You want to check out their V-Star's page and any of the bands she mentioned. Deviluf just dropped a new single, by the way. At least it's out in the States here. It's called Kaika, and it's on Apple Music. That's as far as I know. I haven't checked anything else, but we'll have an article up on that soon. But yeah, so today's topic is going to be how to protect and appreciate your favorite artist. We already did kind of our first version of fans interacting with artists and supporting artists with Rhubarb from Fake Star, and so now we're going to talk about protecting and appreciating. And so I'm going to let Lori kind of lead a lot of this discussion, but I'm just going to give it a quick preamble. So basically, what this is about is there's certain things that go on online. Obviously artists, they have to deal with a lot of problems on a day-to-day basis, but there's some online that use fans even internationally can actually help protect them from. certain things that kind of hamper their growth and their spread and things like that. So we're going to cover, some of those, and then we're going to transition into other ways in general because that's like a really big way to like support and appreciate artists. But then there's also other ways that like artists, personally really love to see in addition to that. And Lori has a lot of, knowledge on that because she works very closely with the bands that she works with. I just want to give just a quick disclaimer. So we're going to go into some of these things are a little bit, you may have encountered them online already, or you'll know exactly what I'm talking about once we start getting into it. But just keeping it vague, you may have encountered it already, or you may have even unknowingly participated in. And so if like anything comes up as like, oh, that's something I've done or I've shared or I've, accidentally supported before, this isn't like any judgment or anything like that against fans or anything at all. This is just this is strictly for like informative purposes. So this is all just informative. So if you see something and you're like a little worried about something, like no worries. The entire point of this is to kind of we want to help educate fans and put fans in contact with promoters to learn how to best help bands that both the bands and the promoters like. So yeah, with that out of the way, Lori, I'll go ahead and let you take it away. I think I'll go ahead and just introduce the initial topic, which is or the initial thing that fans can help the most out with, which is that so the problem that artists face in regards to illegally uploaded copyrighted material, so music videos and music namely, but anything else as well.
Those are the main copyrighted materials that are being uploaded quite frequently, and not just now, also in the past with this fandom and this industry. But yeah, you opened into this subject very well. Like Jeff said, we're not trying to shame people. We're not saying you're bad for doing this. The thing with the VK fandom is everybody is so strong, and everybody generally wants to support and share the music that they love. And as a promoter, I'm very happy to see that. But it's very important to stress that there's a way you can do this and help out the bands more. And trying to stop and discourage illegal uploads is the best way to do it, because the thing is, it's statistics, and statistics matter a lot more than what people stop and think they do. So if somebody downloads from YouTube a music video and then uploads it to their page, rather than just putting the YouTube link in, which will have the YouTube tab, you click on the tab and it opens up on YouTube. But just uploading the video instead of putting the YouTube link, you might think, oh, it's only my followers watching it like this, it's not going to have a huge impact. Or you might think it's only me watching this, it's not going to have a huge impact. The thing is, it's not just one person, it's not just a few people. If 300 people or more, even just 20 people, watch a illegally uploaded video on Facebook rather than watching it on YouTube, that's 300 statistics, that's 20 statistics, that's 5 statistics, that's 500 that the band and their management know nothing about. So say 300 people are watching from America. Those are statistics that the band is not aware of. They don't know that they have 300 fans waiting for them in America. And if you want to see your favorite bands perform near you, they need to know that they have a fan base where you're located. And if they don't have those statistics sitting in front of them, it's harder for them to know. Is basically the best way to kind of jump into this conversation. So if you see somebody illegally upload a video, don't attack them. Just say, please support the band by sharing the YouTube link instead of an illegally uploaded video.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Great intro into it. I actually think one thing I could do is I could share the our YouTube channel so the audience kind of understands more of what we're talking about. Like our analytics page. I don't think there's anything super sensitive on it. I can go to like one video.
Yeah, I think people don't generally understand how YouTube analytics work, so I think that would be a good idea.
Yeah. Okay. Let me go ahead and give like an example, because what Lori just talked about is actually it's really it has like a more significant impact, like listening to it and hearing her talk about it from a fan perspective than you would think, like initially hearing it the first time. Let me try if I could get the screen share to work. Okay. That did not work. Whoops. Okay. Application window. I know how to computer. Okay, so for example, so this is like the creator studio on YouTube. So every artist with like a YouTube channel, and a lot of the artists that like Lori works with, they do have they do have YouTube channels. They have a very global presence. More and more of the smaller bands are on YouTube. We can see like where people are watching from. So for example, this was our X Japan live or live stream where we talked about X Japan at Coachella. And so you can see like on here, it shows the watch time from the United States and the watch time from Japan. So this was actually helpful for me because it was like, oh, okay, when we talk about X Japan, there's a lot of people from Japan that are really interested. Actually, it's more than was in the States. So as an artist, what you might imagine is that the majority of their views are coming from Japan. But if enough views come out of any of these other countries like America or Europe or anything like that, these will pop up. And then they'll log in one day and be like, oh, we have fans in the States or in the UK or wherever. And that's like the best way for them to immediately recognize that we need to put this country down as like, there's fans there. Maybe we should visit them. So let me quit out of this real quick, because then we can kind of move into the next part of this. What you just started with, Lori, is, and maybe you can talk about this next part because it goes off of what you just said, is that the problem with, even if it's like, a few hundred views going to like an unofficial upload, all it takes is like the stats you saw on there, that was like 1,000 for like to get the America to show up, for example, right, for us. So all it takes is a few hundred to get your country popping up. But if if they're distributed like 100 here, 100 here, 100 here, and there's only like a few that are going to the actual YouTube channel, then the bands don't know, for example. So that's why I think when this topic comes up, I think it's important to stress that it's like, even if it's a preview or like a trailer, like it helps to share that.
Yeah.
For all those reasons.
Yeah, for sure. And going just back to analytics for just one quick second, the YouTube analytics can get so detailed. It can even go into like what city or what area the views are coming from, and it can say what platform the views are coming from. So if you share a link on Facebook, it will say, oh, this many views are coming from a Facebook, or this many views are coming from such and such site. So it's incredibly helpful if you can share the links instead of sharing illegal uploads. But yeah, it's really important, and it really helps out a lot. You might just be one person, but a lot of people are just one person.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, this is absolutely like something that we would really want to pitch to you guys, the viewers, and you know, kind of encourage you guys as fans, because we see a lot of really dedicated like Visual K fans, and you guys are some great fans. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like fans of like, you know, the bands that you're fans of and stuff. So
Sure.
this is like literally the #1 way that you can protect artists is by like sharing you know, sharing official links and spreading the word about to others about, you know, how they need to share official links, because of like how much of a make or break it can be, especially for small bands like Rides and Rebellion that people love, you know, but they're in a very important position in their careers, and you know.
Sure.
Yeah.
And bringing up Rides again, even with just like stepping aside from the video aspect for a moment, music, uploading and downloading music, I am also personally against, and as I'm sure many people are. Rides in Rebellion, for example, have made their music very available from day one. Their CDs are available for purchase online, and also they upload their music onto iTunes and whatnot. But still, there's cases where their music is still uploaded and downloaded illegally. But when I talk to the members, Taji in particular, because he's been very particular and very insistent from the start to have their music available worldwide, he speaks very positively of uploading music onto iTunes and having it available. And he would talk to other bands saying that they get good sales from that. And that's with illegal downloads and uploads going on. So if you were to take that out of the picture, and instead of downloading and downloading their music, if you were to buy it like through iTunes instead, he'd have even more positive things to say, because their sales would be even better than what they are currently. And he's talking to other bands, and he's telling other bands about this, because a lot of bands don't really know that it's a demand, because they just don't know that they have foreign fans. So if a band has made their music available, show them support by buying it legally. So the bands that have done that will spread the word that it's worthwhile.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say that's like what was kind of the thing that worried me the most when we were, you know, talking about doing this stream, you know, or I mean, when we were in the process of building this stream, is that like talking with you was that it's not that Western fans don't, it's not that international fans want bands to come visit them and these bands, you know, don't want to come. It's even worse than that. It's that they don't know.
Exactly. The
Yeah, so
amount of times I've talked to a band and I've said, oh, you have a lot of friends in such and such country. They have no idea. They're genuinely shocked because they don't have any knowledge, because they don't have the sales, they don't have the statistics.
Right, yeah. So this is really something, especially that like if you guys are in fan groups, official or unofficial, you know, of a band, like this is something that you guys can like super help out with. Like I mean, it's really more about it's the main thing is helping them with their analytics, basically. So, and the thing that hinders that the most is, spreading or uploading like, illegally uploaded stuff. But that's really something that it's like, I think promoters and artists would be thrilled to see, like that, fans like spreading around the official links and making sure they're getting like the counts that they need. I'm sure a lot of you viewers are pretty familiar with the with like the K-pop fans and stuff like that, right? So if you've ever popped on a K-pop video, you see how crazy coordinated they're all being in the comments, like, just going like crazy, like trying to spread and rack up as many views and stuff. And they do that strategically to like promote their artists. I don't necessarily want to go that far, but because they get a little wild with it, but that's kind of the kind of thing that's really helps like these more vulnerable, or not vulnerable, but like these newer artists that are, kind of in these really big, beginning points of their stages. So I think the comment I was seeing in the chat that we sort of addressed, but I think we should still go ahead and talk about it head on, is that's, I think everybody seems to be on the same page about sharing the official links, especially if it's uploaded, or sharing the official links, if they're available and things like that. So what would you say to people who want to share an artist whose official music is not available on any platform, like any online, any digital platform? So like maybe it's for sale on CD Japan, but it's not on Spotify or YouTube. They don't have a channel, that sort of thing.
Well, if that's the case, it's down to the fans to put pressure on the bands. If you want their music to become available, message the bands, like message their label and say, we'd like to see their music online. We'd like to see their music on YouTube. There's a demand for, if a band or a label knows that there's demand and the demand is strong enough, they'll do something about it.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And we definitely saw that there's like a lot of people that are already coordinating about that.
Yeah, it's like a call to action to get people to start their own social media campaigns to tell the bands to get digital,
Yeah. That's Rhubarb from Fake Star. She was telling us, it was like, if you let them know, they listen, they see it,
Yeah. If the demand is there, they'll listen, but they need to know the demand is there.
Right. Yeah.
Which ties back into YouTube analytics.
Yep.
Yeah.
So basically, just
go ahead.
Basically just put your voice out there. Organize several people to message the band or their management, and they'll eventually listen.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Perfect. The other thing I wanted to pitch about that to the chat and everything is because we were talking about this, and I just kind of realized that this is probably something important to highlight is so Lori, you were telling me that in Japan, there's not really a piracy thing, and it an issue with piracy or illegal uploads. It seems to be a bit of a cultural thing, so whatever the causes are, the for reasons, there's piracy is not an issue. And so as a result, people just go and buy CDs, and they will buy CDs from international artists. And if it's not available locally, they will import it in. And then as a result of that, you guys may have noticed that a lot of Western rock bands make it a point to show up to tour in Japan.
For sure.
So I think it's really important to kind of like bring that up, because it's really like a cause and effect kind of situation where it's like at the end of the day, like if it's not available, on YouTube or iTunes or on like if it's not available on like a streaming service, then the only analytics that they're going to see are sales. And the primary analytics that they're still going to see are usually sales. So what's happening in Japan and why it's working for the Japanese fans of Western bands is that they buy consistently, you know, the albums that bands sell. And then those bands make it a priority to tour to Japan. And you multiply that over like decades and you have like second largest music industry in the world, most engaged music industry internationally, from what I can see.
You just explained it very well. In Japan, piracy is very low. It's a very uncommon thing here. If a Japanese band likes a band's music, if it's available at the local store, they'll buy it. If it's available on like iTunes or whatever, they'll buy it. If it's not available and they need to import it, if they like the band enough, they'll do that, even at the added cost. So that's a huge benefit with the Japanese music industry here, because it's just sales really count. And the fans understand that. And even in Japan, it's very rare, like almost unheard of, that a Japanese fan would buy a band's CD and upload it online for people to download. So a lot of Japanese bands really don't see that as an issue, because it's just not something that's done in Japan. And I'll put forward one example that a lot of people might kind of like take particular heed to. Keisuke from Deviluf. Some people might know that he's a huge fan of Western metal, Western deathcore, all of that kind of stuff. Like he loves Rings of Saturn and all of those kinds of bands. He will buy all of their stuff to show his support. He'll buy their CDs, he'll buy their merchandise, and like for sure, if they come to Japan, he'll be the first one to buy a concert ticket. And he does that because it's just the way it's done here. That's the way you show support for a band. And
oh wow! So even the artists themselves are doing it for other artists. That's cool.
Yeah, it's just the way it works here, and it's what's normal. It's what's expected. And it's why the scene, the music industry here is the way it is. And I think it would be good as foreign fans if everybody could kind of like take on that mentality of, if the music is produced and the effort is put into it and I want to support this band, this is one way I can do it. And it's the best way I can do it.
Yeah, and it's the way to let them know that there's interest in your country, you know. So like we talked about. Winona, do you have anything you want to jump in here with? And any thoughts or anything like that?
About supporting the artist? Well, no. Honestly, everything that Laura's saying is, I'm just like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, but I'm waiting for my time to speak.
No, I mean, go ahead. Like, if you have anything to say, you know.
I really don't. Not right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. When I have something that I can bring to the table, I will.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is, again, just, you know, not to repeat myself, but this is really like the biggest way to, like, if you want to stick up for bands, like this would definitely be it. And maybe before we talk about other ways to appreciate artists and things like that, maybe we can talk about the cost that goes into, like, you know, producing an album, producing a music video. Lori, maybe based off of some of your experiences with bands.
Okay, for sure. I'm going back to Deviluf. I had quite a large hand in the production of Purge. I even have like some recorded parts in Purge. I helped write some lyrics. I was like quite on board with a lot of it. The amount of money that was put into that album, I think a lot of people would have no idea. Like the smaller bands or the bands that are not on a label, they pay for this themselves. A lot of them work second jobs, and they let it affect their life. It will affect their diet. They'll put the production of the CD before their own health in a lot of cases, from what I've seen. I've seen bandmen lose weight during the production of a CD because they're putting the CD before eating.
Jeez.
Basically. So
you're saying it's like really important that people actually put the money into the CD because of not just like the amount of money that they're putting into, but the fact that they're risking their lives to make the music.
Yeah, well,
wow.
That's a really intense way of saying it, but
kind of risking their lives to make the music. I mean, they forget to eat because they're so stressed out to like do the thing, you know, which I can understand.
The most extreme case is one guy. It wasn't for a It wasn't for a CD, but for a major concert his band was planning. He lost like 8 kilograms. And he was already really skinny, so he really didn't need to lose that.
Sounds like he lost some muscle mass too.
Well, he definitely did. After the concert was finished, he just like scoffed down all the food because until that point, until it was over, that was the main focus. But basically, another really good way of looking at it is if you wanted to get your hair cut, you go into a hair salon, hairdressers. You sit down, they cut your hair. You don't leave without paying because they've done a job. What the bands are doing are the same. They're doing a job. They're producing something. They're giving you something. So the least you can do as a fan who appreciates the effort that they've done, the work that they've done for you, is to buy the CD. And if it's up on iTunes, it's like really, really cheap. It's the cost of a coffee. If a band can barely eat for 3 or 4 months to produce this CD, you can go without a coffee.
Yeah, Tim, sorry, I just like kind of was just absorbing that for a second, but yeah, it's and hearing stuff like that from you and from other people in the industry is like, it's especially kind of maddening for someone in the press, because we're kind of in between the artists and the fans, so we kind of see it. Like we see the connections that can be made, and you know, just the potential that there is for like artists to bring more enjoyment to fans, you know, and that's why we've ragged on, you know, on the industry in the past for making their music more available, but then also for bands to really support the artists that are really sticking their neck out.
Well, I'd say a lot of it is that now times have changed. Like back then, obviously back then people downloaded whatever they could. Not that we ever condone it, but back then like things were even less accessible. Like you wouldn't see any of your favorite bands on YouTube official uploads or anything like that. And like God knows, when I first got into this music, I couldn't find anything on iTunes. If you looked up the Gazette, you got some country band legit, and I'm like, what is that? But now the bands are on iTunes and they are on Spotify and they are on YouTube and they're making Facebook pages and they've been on Twitter for however long. And since it's all accessible and it's all available for you, there's no excuse anymore. Like there's no reason to download what's available when you can get it for like a $5 subscription on Spotify if you have a student account, or if you can just download the song for 99 cents on iTunes. Like if you don't have the money, then it's probably uploaded somewhere on YouTube officially too. I don't know.
Get him, Winona.
It's also available for stream on Spotify, and sometimes it's on iHeartRadio if anybody uses that anymore. So, yeah, that's
I was waiting.
solid.
I was waiting for this. It was beautiful.
And the thing is, it's not only the smaller bands that I've talked about until now that it affects, even the bands that are on a label. So going back to Rise and Rebellion and many, many other bands, the CD sales is what affects the way the label decides to promote and push the band. So if the sales are not representing well enough because of illegal downloads, and once again, it could go back to people thinking, oh, it's only me, it's only a few people that I'm sharing this link with. It still does make an effect. If the sales are not as good as what they should be, that's going to impact the way that the label sees the band and their worth.
Right, yeah. You know, there's another way that we could also look at this that I just thought of this, that like I know some of our readers really like to find you know, or a lot of our readers, like you guys will find like we notice you'll find like a new band, and you'll be like a really big fan of like, you know, these certain, you know, newer bands, like baby bands or brand new bands, and some of you, yes, yeah, like Baby Kingdom. that's
Baby Kingdom's great. I love those.
Yeah. I got Jeff to agree that they're good.
Yeah, we talked about them on a podcast episode, and then I ruined it for Winona because I compared them to baby metal because of like how they like mix and match like Visual K genres. She doesn't like baby metal.
It's not that I don't like baby metal; it's that they're not real rock and roll. But whatever, that's a different discussion.
Okay, not getting not getting too off track, but what I was getting at was that those smaller bands, you know, these larger bands, they have a Japanese fan base, so a lot of the fans of the larger bands, you guys are unfortunately like, you know, you're working to get your voice heard in addition to the Japanese bands, but these smaller bands don't have as fully established audiences, and so it's great that like we're talking about, you know, talking about this to, you know, like help protect bands like from having damaged, like, you know, like from being limited from spreading. But if you were even, or from having their music being spread, but if you were to even take that a step further, especially some of these smaller bands, you could potentially have like your favorite Visual K bands, like these small ones that form with larger as large as or larger fan bases like outside of Japan. And when they see that, you know, you might have a Visual K scene that is like a new artist that starts to go, which is what Lori is basically pushing for, you know, with V-Star, you know, that will want and love to go internationally. So you guys, especially like those readers of us, you know, that I know get into those small bands, like that could be the spark that like starts that like as a trend, as a thing, as opposed to like, you know, a semi-annual occasion, like that kind of thing. I don't know. What do you think about that, Lori?
So yeah, I just had a brain blank at the moment.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, for sure. If, like you said, with the smaller bands, because there is less of a fan base in Japan. I mean, they of course do have a fan base, but it's not as comparable to like the bigger bands, the established bands that have been playing for 5, 6, 7 odd years or whatever, because they're still working on that. Your voice as foreign fans is a lot clearer. A great example of this is Viva Rush recently. We've been working really hard on the Viva Rush Facebook page, and the boys and their management have been overwhelmed with just how amazing the foreign fans are and how amazing their foreign dreamers, because they call their fans dreamers, are and how strong they are and how supportive they are, and that's been very visible to them recently, how much support they have internationally. So they really, really want to play overseas because they know their fans are there. So basically making your voice heard through analytics, through statistics, or just by commenting on Facebook, by commenting on Twitter. You can comment in English because, as JRock Vote, our friends at JRock Vote posted on the chat, there's translation apps.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. There's a yeah. You guys would be surprised at. I actually think people would be genuinely surprised at how often bandmen see, read, and get like foreign comments translated.
For sure.
Just from talking to you.
Rui Mahu from Vivas, he's actually taking English lessons once a week at the moment because he really wants to communicate with foreign fans. And after every English lesson, he tweets in English. I think he'll do it more often once he becomes more confident in his English. But at the moment, he tweets once after every lesson in English. And he's always amazed by how many likes, by how many retweets, and how many comments his English tweets get.
Yeah. I mean, that's always it's super appreciated from fans. So yeah, well, so basically to wrap this, we can wrap this first part up, and then we're going to get into like other ways to obviously, as you can tell from what Lori's talked about, this is like a big way to like appreciate your favorite artists and bandmen, because you're basically protecting them, you're sticking up for them, and so just
let your voices be heard.
Yeah, let your voices be heard, basically.
You're not just protecting them, but you're also, what's the word? Helping them grow. Yeah, you're sticking up for them, and you're showing them that they have people who like their music, and that they aren't terrible bands.
And like I said, we're not here to shame or like tell people you're bad for doing this. But if you do see somebody illegally upload or illegally share music, just tell them you can do this better. You can do this in a way that supports the band more. Because as fans, you guys have the strongest say on what happens in this industry.
Right. Yes, definitely. So before we go on, I had picked out a couple of like comments in the chat, and I'd seen some comments on social media about these topics before. Maybe I wanted to run through them real quick, and then maybe pitch some of them to you, Lori, and or we can both give our responses and things like that. So. One that I was seeing, or one that I think we've both seen is, what about, we should probably talk about illegally uploading, but linking disclaimers or still linking to the original content, and maybe kind of dispel the myth around like how that works.
Very good topic. The thing is, back 6-7 years ago, probably back when the three of us were, if not longer ago, when the three of us were getting into Visual K, it wasn't as available as it is now. So I think that's when the illegal uploading and illegal downloading scene started to grow and started to thrive, because at that point there was really no real options. But as it was mentioned earlier, there's no excuse nowadays. It's on YouTube, it's on Spotify, it's on iTunes, it's available for us. It's available for you guys. Disclaimers are getting pointless because they're not necessary. And just buy the music, it's available for you. It's not massively expensive, especially on iTunes. Like, I cannot really stress how cheap iTunes is, how cheap Spotify is. It's the cost of a coffee.
Right. Yeah.
I have Apple Music, and I'm a broke college student. Endorsement.
Yeah.
Apple Music is like, I'm not sure overseas, but in Japan, it's 900 yen.
Like $9.99 without a student account, and with it, it's like $5, like $4.99 a month, which is great because everybody's on iTunes. So
yeah, it's definitely worth it, worth the investment.
Yeah, I'll also jump in just from we've been trying to address this just from like how the fans can help perspective, because you know a lot of what we're talking about is obviously technically illegal, but we do understand, especially as Westerners, like how the piracy thing went. Nobody's gonna throw stones from glass houses. Everybody went through the piracy phase and things like that. Days. Yeah, the dark days, you know. I remember it being, I was amazed that that streaming killed the piracy industry as much as it did. But I do want to say that what has happened is that back in the day, the piracy community was almost like an advocacy community. And because the internet was less established, less settled, you know, and you know, it was such a quick way to spread, you know, content, and then the corporations caught up with that. Most of that like positive kind of vibe that's associated with people that are like pro piracy, pro distribution, you know, a lot of those people are gone. And the problem is that what you're left with is like people that aren't so noble in their motivations. And so basically what I'm getting at is that there are artists that want to be supported and get views and stuff like that. But there are also people that want to get that instead. And because it's 2018 and not 2008, that kind of a thing is really, it's not just that it's like less excusable. It's actually more dangerous because it's like less and less of a chance that it's like, okay, I stole this, but I'm sharing it with a friend. You know, or I illegally uploaded this, but I'm sharing it with a friend. You know, it's hurting way more than it's helping because of the whole analytics thing that we talked about. Sure.
And you mentioned it just a little bit before. Uploading a video but having the YouTube link doesn't make a difference. People are still just going to watch the little thing, the video on Facebook rather than clicking the link, because why would you click the link if the video is already playing? So if you really want to give traffic to the band, give those sweet statistics to the band, don't upload, just put the link, and it's easier for you anyway.
Yeah, and even if it's like a preview and then a link to the full thing, you're doing that, and I'm speaking from someone who runs a Facebook page, and so is Lori, and so is Winona, because we run our Facebook page together.
Thanks for that.
Having it, having the having like a preview like that, and then a link in the description to the full thing, you're screening out people that may or may not like what they're seeing, or they may not like it enough to watch the whole thing, or they may not like it enough to share it, but if the first time they see the videos on the original video, the artist still gets that view. So so they still get the buzz. You know, maybe they get a fan, maybe they don't get the fan, but the buzz is still there, and that's where it's like built. You know, getting your buzz up, like that whole term comes from. So yeah, I think we've covered that pretty well. One that I saw in the chat that I thought was pretty interesting is that so there's you know, obviously for a lot of these bands there's like no excuse and stuff like that. Because it is so available. But I think one thing that people were pointing out is that there are still bands whose social media is in Japanese. So this wasn't really so much on the point of like, you know, spreading like illegally distributed material. Is more about supporting and sharing artists. What do you recommend for fans of bands who are, who have social media, but it's all in Japanese?
Translation apps. But aside from that, like, translation apps are like really getting a lot better nowadays, and you can get a pretty good idea of the general meaning from translation apps. But you can also search for fan communities of a band, because a lot of fan communities will do translations. Going back to VKH, their fans are amazing, and they've got several fan groups, including like a Spanish and a Mexican and a Brazilian fan group, and they translate VKH tweets into their own language. And there's a Twitter for Devilov that does that. They translate all their tweets into English, a fan group. So like, you can either just use translation apps, Google Translate, Excite Translate, etc., or search for other fans, because there's a chance that other fans also want to be able to understand what they're saying and have like done something about that.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. And I would just throw in that, as far as I know, Twitter for sure, and I believe Facebook.
Yeah.
They both have auto translate, button, or they both have translate buttons underneath statuses and stuff like that. So if you're trying to, I'm guessing the concern is that it's like, I want to share a post from a band, but it's like in Japanese, and maybe I can go figure it out, but my friend doesn't, want to. You can just share it and say, click translate, underneath. Yeah. This is really cool, that kind of stuff. So it is getting easier, and it'll only get easier over time.
Yeah. So. And the auto translate does a pretty decent job.
Yeah. I actually used it to, I've used it to communicate with bandmen, like in and around interviews and stuff like that. We use the Google Translate app. So I'll give my professional endorsement, like they're getting really good. And
yeah. They're putting that technological work and investment and time into that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, thankfully. So another one that I saw that I think would be worth addressing was I saw some comments about, let me see if I can find it. We sort of talked about it, but I think it's a good one to go back to again, because I don't think it's something that's talked about a lot, but there's these some bands, Japanese bands, they only put up 30 seconds or 60 seconds of a PV or a song. And that's a very Japan-centric thing. But, there's some concern that it's like, I want to share the official thing. But I don't know if that's enough to impress one of my friends in the States or in Europe or wherever. What would you maybe say to that?
Once again, it comes down to the fans. If the fans message the band or message their management and all that, and kind of like press for the full release, like if the demand is high enough, they'll definitely do it, or at least they'll consider it. Because like, of course, you can't buy the CD and upload the video yourself, because that's just going back to the start of our conversation. But honestly, if a band cannot get somebody interested in a teaser, either it's just not that person's taste, or the band isn't doing it right.
Yeah, I think that's totally valid, because that's the whole point of the teaser, is to get people interested.
You need to show the best part of the song in the teaser.
Right. So, I would take. I think the best answer is that the teaser should be like taken the same way that the video itself is, if anything more so, which is that they're either going to like it or they're not going to like it, and it's either because people think it's good or people don't think it's good. And because the teaser is usually the best part of the song, or the most like generally appreciated part of the song.
or something that's going to make you interested enough to look into getting the full version. It's like a movie trailer.
Yeah. Yeah, so I would say you absolutely let let the artist live and die by their teaser, they live and die by the full song and everything like that. The other thing that I would want to point out is that it's cool to share with friends and everything like that, and so I understand where those people are coming from with trying to get the full the full PV or the full song out to people. But the baseline, like the main problem or the main way that you can help the most is just even sharing it to begin with, or getting those views on there in the first place. Yeah. So I really want fans to walk away from this knowing that, if you share something to friends and they don't like it, you still helped the band. You absolutely helped the band. You did the most important thing, actually, which is you got them to share the official. If you share the official thing, if you share official videos, you got people to view it. And usually the people you're sharing it with are people in your country, in your area. That means there's conversation about that band. So that reflects in the metrics that it's like, I shared this with 5 friends. So that's 5 extra views in this area. And if that happens 100 times,
share with other friends.
Yeah. Even if just one of them shares them, the other people are like, I don't like this. You still got those views. Somebody else is sharing it. So it's literally the point where it's like, you don't even have to worry about the results from your friends. Obviously, like I hope that my friends, when I share stuff, they like it, but I know that it's like, if I share this, it's helping the band regardless. So,
yeah. And everybody has their own musical taste.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, so if you're ever, and on another note, like if you're ever nervous about sharing bands with friends, like you're nervous about their reaction or whatever, maybe that's something to keep in mind, that it's like, hey, even if my friends don't like it, I still help the band.
Yeah.
Every view counts. And speaking as someone who's kind of going through the process of like building up a small YouTube channel and stuff, like every view counts, man. And so I know how I empathize enough with what some of these artists are doing on social media and YouTube, because it's like, oh, like one person liked the thing, but it's like one person liked the thing, so yeah. So yeah, very cool.
Numbers are a lot more important than people realize sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's about it for this topic. I think we can wrap it up and go into the second part, which is other ways. These are just like a broader assortment of ways that are that you guys can that are like the best ways to appreciate and support your favorite artists, in addition to what we just talked about, because that is important. But there's also other ways. Maybe let's start with well, Laura, do you have one? I know we have the same list. Is there one on here that you would say is like the biggest one, or do you want to just run through them?
Honestly, for me, the most important way to show appreciation towards a band that you like or members that you like is you need to be polite. These people might be idols, they might be band members, they might be somebody that you really look up to. But at the end of the day, they're still just people. They deserve respect. They deserve to be treated with politeness. So like if you send a comment to them, if you send a private message to them, if you send them fan mail, just make sure that you're polite. Express your appreciation through good language. You don't need to use foul language. You don't need to like use bad words, etc. Just basically communicate with them as you would anybody else that you respect.
Right. Yeah. That's that's great. Yeah. I think we covered that one pretty well. I don't really have anything else to add. You nailed that one.
So like, not only just like Twitter comments, Facebook comments, YouTube comments, live streams. I know a lot of people are doing live streams nowadays. A lot of band members are doing live streams, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. Ray from Devilific, for example, he does a lot of Instagram live stream nowadays because he just really loves interacting with fans. And in the comment section, in the chat section, if the fans are polite, if they're encouraging, it's a really good thing for both the fans and for Ray, because he does love interacting with fans. But if the fans start to be disrespectful, if they start to use bad language, etc., etc., if they're trying to get him to say things that he's not comfortable with or stuff like that, it can really ruin the mood for both him and the other people like him and also his fans. And for example, Viva Rush, who've been doing live streams for them on the Facebook page, and everybody's been very supportive on that until now, which is really great. And I really appreciate all the positive feedback from that. And that's the way it should be.
Right. Yeah. Perfect. I'll say.
Wait. Sorry, I muted my mic, so I had things to say, and I was just waiting to say it. But I also think that politeness matters, because you're representing your country to the band too. Like, they're going to want to visit you more if they know how nice everyone in your country is or in your area is. And if you're rude or anything like that, like, they're gonna know that they have fans there, but then like their interaction with the fans might not be as nice as it would be if they knew that everyone was so nice, you know? And then they'll walk away from shows so much happier if you're nice to them in person too. Like, you're nice to them online and in person, they'll just want to come back more and more. That's all I have to say.
Okay.
No, it's a very good point. Going back to Viva Rush, they really want to play overseas because they've had nothing but good interactions with their international fans. And it does make a huge difference.
Yeah, that's really been a magical thing to watch happen. The Viva Rush Facebook page and the Facebook group, which I did link in the description, by the way, chat. So if you want to see an example of this, like everything we're talking about running really smoothly in my personal estimation, check out the Viva Rush Facebook page.
Yeah, the Viva Rush Facebook page has been amazing. All the fans have been fantastic, and the band, the members and the management are beyond touched and appreciative of how good the fans have been.
Yeah. I'll say another one just from my side that I've seen just from doing streams and stuff was, you know, and there's other ones that I'm sure I've missed, but like the LMC fan base, you know, if you want an example of like a larger band that still has a dedicated fan base, you know, internationally, just interacting with some of you guys and stuff. Just a lot of like really positive, polite, like exactly what we were talking about kind of stuff. So definitely want to shout you guys out while it's on my mind. Some people made a good point because we were talking about being polite. There's a lot of people talking about you know, the dangers of being too intense in your affection or the way that you know, you compliment the band. And Lori, you can like address this if you do, or if you don't feel the need to. But I'll say my personal tip on that is that like if you're like super crazy into a band, like no like more power to you, you know. There's certain like things that I'm super into that I still get giddy about, you know, in my life. My personal tip, you know, because, you know, your excitement gets the better of you, you type something out, and then you look back later and maybe you're like, oh no, what have I done? Or, you know, anything like that. To prevent all that is anything you type out, just read it out loud, like verbally read it out loud before you send it. And that helps you calibrate. I think calibrate is a good term, you know, how it sounds in your head. But enough people were mentioning that yeah, thanks, Chet. That was actually good. That was good.
Ooh, I also think it's important to be polite to like each other, you know, and yeah, to the people who work with the bands, because they're just as important in like making things happen, you know. Like when I was when I was at Teca with LMC, the fans were so polite, like so nice, the nicest people. Some of them brought us candy, and we were just so happy to walk away with it. And like oftentimes, like fans just kind of, well, in the past years ago, fans were like more standoffish and just kind of like, unless you were the band. So it's just nice. It's nice when everyone's just nice to each other, and it creates a nicer atmosphere for everybody.
For sure. Like enthusiasm. Going back to Jeff for a minute, enthusiasm is a great thing, and there's nothing better than seeing a fan base or just even one fan being very, very enthusiastic about a band that they love, because it's just a lovely thing. Like the bands are enthusiastic about their music, so if the fans are in turn enthusiastic about them, it all goes like full circle, and it's great. But if you're typing out a comment and it's like going out to the public domain, it's out there now. Before you press send, just read it through out loud to yourself. And if you stop and think, hey, that sounds a bit crazy, probably best not to hit that send button. But at the end of the day, if you're cool with it, go for it, as long as it's polite and it's not like rude, or it's not gonna like negatively impact somebody reading it, like hurt their emotions, etc. Do what you feel is right, but if you feel like, hey, that's a bit strong, kind of sense it, like calibrate yourself, set what you want to do and what you find appropriate. And yeah, basically I'm kind of going around in circles there.
But, no, it's fine. Yeah.
Also, like with communication with not only the band but staff, with media, don't only be polite to the band members, be polite to everybody working in the industry, because everybody's working really hard.
Oh my God, you guys work so hard.
Everyone works so hard. They work so hard. Bob and Lori and Laura all work so hard. Like we watch them and then they don't sleep, and we're like, oh my God.
Yeah, we see this firsthand.
We don't sleep. Me and Jeff don't sleep for different reasons, but like when they don't sleep for work, we're just like, oh my gosh. So yeah, please respect everybody. And also, I think Laura from JRock said in the chat, like, make the fandom a great place to. Yeah, that's really important, because half the time when I'm looking at like an artist that I'm kind of interested in getting into, I'm like, maybe not, because the fandom looks kind of wild, and I don't really want to be involved in that. So I'll just like make them just ear candy, and then
more than anything, participate. It's really important for the fans to be friendly to other fans, because like as you just said, if you're just starting to get into a band and that you see that the fan base is crazy, you're likely to take a step back. So just be friendly to everybody. It's music. It's something that's meant to be enjoyed, not like twisted and demented into something bad.
Yeah, definitely. And honestly, just how you guys are being in the chat right now is a pretty, just like, you know, in general, like it seemed pretty respectable, like and nice and warm. You guys are nice. The LMC fans were shouting out Winona.
I know, they're saying they love me. I love them too. You guys are so nice.
Laura from JRock Vault says MFGA, which I know stands for Make Fandoms Great Again. Very nice. Very nice. Good meme, top keck, all that.
Top. What was the one we came up with? LJK. Top LJK.
Top LJK, which was LOL, haha, the Spanish haha, and kek, which is LOL in Korean. KEK. So it's laughing worldwide, basically, was our little thing. But okay, yeah, let's get into let's talk about fan art and song covers, because I think this is something that Anybody that does fan art, song covers, any creative projects for bands, you guys should listen to this part.
Personally, I'm a huge believer in the benefits of this because like some people might think, oh, it's lame, why are you doing this? But I've seen band members receive fan art or like see covers online, and they're generally just really happy about it. It shows appreciation, and like the fact that it's coming from overseas, they're stunned that like they sometimes feel like, do I really deserve this love from an international fan?
Aww. That's really sweet.
It really means a lot, and like not everybody is artistically gifted. I'm for sure not. I can't draw to save my life. I can't play guitar to save my life, and nobody ever wants to hear me sing. But for those that do have the talent, or even if like you're not overly confident in your artwork or your skills, if you just want to do something and send it to them, like send it through Twitter, send it through fan mail, whatever. If you want to do it and you want to show your appreciation through that method, through that art style, go for it, because the bands will be really happy to see it.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely just wanted to get that across to people, because you know, I when I first found out about that, I was surprised, but then I was like, people should, you know, anybody that does that stuff should, you know, they should know about it, because I know how artists can be, including like fan artists or yeah, musicians that cover songs, and you know, there's already like you know, enough you know internal, you know, concern, like what if people don't like it, what if people make fun of it, what if this or that, but these guys love it. So
yeah. One example is Morgan, back before Pity unfortunately left the band. There's one guy in the fan community, I think his username is Skiffy or something along those lines. I probably butchered the pronunciation, but he does a lot of J-rock, Visual K J-rock guitar covers, and he's done a few Morgan ones. I think he done Everlasting and maybe Dawn Deep Dope, and like they're covering, of course, Pity. And I know when Pity saw them, like he really liked it. He shared and retweeted the YouTube links when he saw it. So it's seen and it's appreciated. So if you can do it, do it.
Awesome. Let's talk about creating fan groups.
Yep. That's also something that I'm a huge supporter of, because fan groups can only build up a fan community if it's done correctly. Like I said, I'm a huge supporter of fan groups, but I think some like guidelines are best to be put in place. I don't necessarily think that you need to go asking for permission. If you do, it's great, but I don't think you'd necessarily need to ask a band or their management for permission to make a fan group. But I think this is just my opinion, but I think if you do create a fan group, fan page or whatever on Facebook or whatever, please list it as unofficial. Because if the word unofficial is not written there, there's going to be people that make the assumption that it's official, and that can negatively impact the band, because what you're saying doesn't necessarily like connect 100% to what the band's motives are or what the band's intentions are. So I say go for it, make fan groups, make fan pages, just make sure it's listed as unofficial. You need to be open. You don't discriminate from people joining. if you don't like this person, you don't not let them in just because you don't like them. If they're a fan of the band, they do belong. You don't discriminate because somebody's from a different area or a different belief system or a different religion or different political stance. The music is what matters. The fan community is what matters. And once again, going back to VKH, because honestly, VKH is a perfect example because their fans are just amazing. They've got like 3 fan pages at the moment, which I've approved of, and I've talked to the management, the other managements of VKH and the band themselves, and they all approve. They've got a USA fan page, they've got a Mexican fan page, and they've got a Brazilian fan page. And all of them are doing a fantastic job. The fans are really supportive, they're really into it, and the fan community is only getting better because of it.
Yeah, it's great. There's a couple things I think I would I also want to add. It kind of goes without saying, but I think it's worth saying is it's really important to share only official links and stuff like that in these fan groups. I actually think there's like a 2-step process that a lot of existing fan groups might be able to do to really maybe double, triple, quadruple how powerful and beneficial they can be to spread their favorite artists. And the first step would be talk about working on ending or reducing or start addressing sharing any any unofficially uploaded content that's shared in the group. Maybe make it a group rule, maybe have a conversation. I know some bands some fan groups have been around for a long time, and so this might be a controversial thing. So maybe just share this stream and just be discuss, or let's discuss this or something like that. At least get the conversation rolling. So I'd say that's step 1. And then step 2 is once you have that under control, so that there's not, you've done just by doing that, you've helped minimize, a lot of damage to the band's growth. For groups that are already really, past that point, you could start coming up with ideas, and we'll probably do a stream on this at some point, ideas for coordinating, outreach, ways to either one, spread band's content to other people, all at once, kind of like a push, or 2, contacting the band's promoters with requests and suggestions all at once, which was something that Rubab talked about on our previous stream, where we talked about supporting your artists. So once you get once you get that first thing out of the way,
as a promoter myself as well, on the VKH page, I handle the VKH page, I handle the Rising Rebellion page, which we're just reopening now. It's great working with the fans and getting requests, getting suggestions, hearing what people want to see, what they want to have happen. It's really a great thing for us, and it really kind of changes the way we can help the band and we can help the fans. So please, never hesitate to send messages either through our official pages or the band's official pages that we help operate. Go for it, because it's really, really helpful.
Yeah, awesome. I think the last thing that we can cover before wrapping up is so we talked about
oh, sorry, just one more thing quickly with the Facebook page, fan group and all
Sure,
that.
sure.
Another huge benefit to that is fans can get together and they can also organize fan projects. So at the moment, the VKH fans are all organizing a huge project for their second year anniversary, I think it is, coming up soon. And like they're all trying to organize something special for the band. You can check out any of the fan pages to hear about that, and that's a secret from the band. I haven't told them anything about this yet. And I'm not going to, of course, because it's a secret from the fans, so it's not my place to step in and ruin stuff. But back when Aslina was still together before they disbanded, they had a fan group on Facebook, and the fans were organizing a special gift like bracelets and a book for them. And even Rise and Rebellion, the fans got together and created a flower display for one of their concerts that they had. So like in Japan, flower displays at concerts are a huge thing. And a little while back, Rise had a big one man, so just them playing concert. And they had two flower displays, one from the Japanese fans and one from the foreign fans. And that means a lot to the band. And I know like the Rise boys were amazed to have flowers. Like the flowers were from Japan, but they were organized by foreign fans, and that meant a lot.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, definitely. So fan projects. Yeah, definitely. So the last topic I think is like, so we talked about music and PVs and kind of like the proper way to share them, which is the official ones. Let's talk about resharing and uploading photos, like artist photos and things like that. And maybe Laura, you can kind of give your thoughts on best practices for that.
Okay, so this one is a bit more of a flexible topic because everybody's going to have their own opinions. I can only talk about my personal opinion and my experience with this issue until now. But in my opinion, if a band uploads photos onto Twitter, if they upload photos onto Facebook or Instagram, etc., it's okay for fans to reshare them, to post them up on their Facebook, to share them on Twitter, etc. Because that's, for one, really good promotion for the band because it is visual kei. The bands can't really get much statistics from these photos. Like they can get some, but nowhere near as much as what it would be from videos, nowhere near as detailed. So it's not really harming the band as much. So I say go for it. Once it's up online, it's fair use. However, I strongly disagree with printing photos for sale. So like if such and such bandman uploads a photo, you shouldn't print it out and sell it at your local con because that's kind of dodgy. And it's the same with the artist photos, like the professional photos. That's fair to use. You can put them up online, you can share them, say this is a band I really love, etc., but don't print it out and sell it. And also, of course, this should be common knowledge, but in case anybody ever does this but never like claim the photo as your own. And as a photographer myself, this is a slightly off tangent, but I'm a live photographer. I do live photography as well. Some of you might have seen my work. I do a lot of Devil of Flight photography. I do a lot of Morrigan. I do rides. I do a lot of bands, not just like the main bands that we work with. I do photography for a lot of bands. You might see those photos floating around. And like if you take them and you upload them, please leave my watermark on. Like I see a lot of people upload them. They should be uploaded the way they are by the band. And don't claim these photos are your own. Don't claim the band's photos are your own, because other people have put effort into them.
Right. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, I think that's a good summary. Yeah, basically, so just summarizing that, just anything that's, you know, uploaded by artists to the public domain for free, you know, that's you know, that's fair game. But don't claim it's yours. Don't use it to impersonate, which is, like, you know, a problem. Something we will.
Whoa, the impersonations, bruh.
Yeah. Anybody that followed.
Yeah,
anybody that follows VKH or our podcast, or, like, you know, and anything, you know, we've kind of been involved in, like, you know, raising that issue. So just a quick side note, there will absolutely be a stream talking about impersonators at some point. So subscribe so you see that.
Definitely. Gotta call them out, you know.
Yeah. But and then the other thing is, don't share anything that is you know, that was a purchasable photo. So don't scan and share.
So the only thing I want to say about it is the only thing that I want to say about it is, like, YouTube, like, don't download and share those videos either. Like, even though YouTube is a free, like, you can access videos for free on YouTube, so therefore it's like public domain, but it's only public domain if you share the link, not if you download the video and then re-upload it somewhere. And then I wanted to say something about trying to remember. Oh yeah, magazine scans, because JRock Vault had mentioned it in the chat. Like, it's true. Like, if you look at it, all we have now is, like, Cure and Shucks and Rock and Read, and I'm not sure of any other magazines that exist right now. But a lot of the fashion ones have just, like, recently closed down in the last 2 or 3 years, which is crazy because they've been around for like 20 or 30 years, and that's how a lot of fans get their information, or at least back then it was. So you might want to consider just buying magazines instead.
Yeah, purchasable photos should not be shared online. So magazine scans, go buy the magazine. Or fan club photos, like Hershey photos, for example. They shouldn't be shared online because that's not their purpose. Their purpose is to be something special for the fans that pay that mad money to be part of the fan club. And it's the same with the magazines, because it just goes back. Magazine sales matter too. Like, if the magazine isn't selling, the magazine is going to stop being produced.
Awesome. Yeah. No, very true. And we're kind of seeing that, unfortunately. But you know, I think with what we've talked about today, I think it's pretty clear, you know, the best way to, you know, to handle this stuff. So yeah, I think that's about it. We've I think we've covered all of the topics. Let me run through while you guys. I'll let you, Lori, and then Winona, if you guys want to have any last thoughts on this stuff. And I'll maybe look into, like, the group chat or the live chat while you do that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if anybody wants to ask any questions, now would be a great opportunity to do so. If you want to ask any of us how you can, like, kind of help support the bands that you love, do it now. You can do it anytime. Like, just slide into the V-Star Promotion DMs. We'll answer when we have time. But, like, I'm here talking now, so go ahead.
Yeah. If anyone's new to this, you know, feel free to leave questions and comments in the chat. And you know, we read them out, you know, as much as we can and stuff. But now is especially a good time since we're towards the end.
Yeah, just going back. Share legally. There's nothing wrong with sharing. Just do it the right way. Be enthusiastic, but be polite. Don't be afraid to be a fan. Create stuff for the bands that you love. Share the bands that you love. Let your voices be heard. Contact the bands. Contact the management. Let them know and show them that they're fans overseas. Give them those statistics. Watch the official YouTube videos. Share the official YouTube videos. All of that stuff really matters. You guys really matter. I'll say it until my voice dies. The fans are the most important factor, the most important sway in this industry, in this community. So it's all on to you guys.
Boom. Love you guys.
Stay legal, stay kind. Let's make that a hashtag. Take your main takeaway, hashtag stay legal, stay kind. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, that's I've pretty much said everything I've said. I would say if you kind of agree with this, or you like what if you like what we're talking about here, and we hope you do, because we really do think this is like the industry perspective and like the best way to approach this stuff. If you could do everybody in the industry a favor, it's doing obviously us a favor, but like this topic is very important. Maybe share the stream with anybody you think that this might stir up a discussion with, or like in groups like I talked about before, and get the word out. Because like Lori said, the fans are the biggest thing. So, if have the most power, and we know you guys like really love these artists and stuff. So I've seen how much you guys want to stick up for them and fight for them and stuff. So, if we can all work together to, kind of address, protect bands from some of the damage from this, unofficial uploading and stuff, then what that's also going to mean is that we'll be able to work together after that, to spread and to spread and share the artist's music and get it more available and stuff like that, as well. So we definitely count on you guys, and I have tons of faith in you guys because the fans I've seen are awesome. So
you guys are amazing.
Yeah. I'm seeing the hashtag stay legal, stay kind in the chat. This was very informative. Thank you.
Great. I like that takeaway.
Yeah. I'm just going through chat, just reading out a couple of things before we close out here. A lot of the LMC fans telling Rubob, bless you for doing God's work. Oh, man. Someone pointed out, let's see. There's some people talking about Apple Music versus Spotify. Is it versus iTunes? So maybe like streaming versus buying music if both are available.
I think it's streaming versus the two different streaming sites, and then versus buying.
Yeah. So, Lori, do you have any, like, as a promoter, like, what's your like preference? Just is it
as long as it's legal, it's all good.
Okay.
Honestly, because like they still get the statistics, they still get the numbers, they still get like a little bit of money from the service. If it's legal, it's good. Whichever one floats your boat.
Okay, great. There you go. Let's see. Anything else in here? Well, no. Did you have anything from the chat you liked?
There was a question in there, and I guess I was thinking we should probably address it. It says, what about using sites like Rabbit, where you can stream videos from YouTube and such together? And I honestly don't know what Rabbit is, so I was hoping somebody else may know.
I can figure out what it is real quick. It's Rabbit, like
Rabbit, like a bunny, like an animal, but rabbit.
Like, I don't know this site myself, but if they don't send the statistics to YouTube, like the view counts don't count towards YouTube, I would say it's probably best to avoid it, because once again, we're going back into that discussion of the fact that the bands need the view counts. So if they're not getting it through this site, of course it's no good. But like I said, I don't personally know the site, so I don't know if it counts.
There's a question about sharing videos when it's blocked in your country, and I guess the only way you can address like viewing it at least is getting a proxy to fake what country you're in, so you stay legal. I don't know about sharing it though.
I've said it earlier as well. Reach out to the band, reach out to their management, let them know that it's shitty, that it's not available in your country. Tell them that like people in your country, people like you want to see it, and they'll wake up eventually to it.
Yeah, I was looking just to talk about Rabbit for a second. I was looking at it. I'm not. It doesn't seem to be operating like a basically like a piracy or a streaming site. There's a development team page and stuff like that, or a company team page and stuff. I'll have to look into it before I verify, it a bit more. But if anybody's using it right now, you could probably figure it out in your head. Like if you can find out if your view, like each individual view on people that are in those rooms that they have, is being counted on YouTube, or if it's being counted as like 50 people in one view, like that's a really big problem. Like that would be just as bad as sharing. So it's basically the reason I showed the analytics in the beginning is like, is it being counted as a view? So basically, like when you play a video that's embedded on social media somewhere, YouTube counts that as a view. So if it's something like that, then there's a chance it will. I'll have to look into it. Maybe I can tweet something out about it later. When I'll tweet out this stream again. Maybe add something to it or in the comments. But Ghoul Scout saying, I think it would be counted as one view because all those people are viewing through one person's web browser. Yeah, that's definitely not good. So
yeah,
if that's the case, then yeah, that's basically what pirating. That's like a more abstracted form of what pirating was, which was a bunch of people using the internet to share one file around, or it's a rough way of saying it, but yeah. So yeah, I think we've gone for long enough. Thanks so much to everybody that showed up and watched. It looks like a really good response, really good engagement. If you guys had any comments or any questions that you had that you missed, that we missed, feel free to leave them as comments on the YouTube video. I do check them and I do respond to, and so does Winona and V-Star Promotion and J-Rock Vault. They have Google accounts and YouTube channels and stuff like that as Fake Star, so they might interact as well. We can continue the conversation, on everywhere. So definitely please check out V-Star Promotions Facebook page, Vivarush's Facebook page, Rides and Rebellion's Facebook page, and Devolu's Facebook page. V-Star Promotion also has a YouTube channel.
Twitter channel.
Sorry, what?
VKH's Twitter channel. Everybody's Twitter accounts. All
yeah, and and they're working with Seichi Hoshiko, who also has a Facebook page, and so I've linked all those in the description. Other links to check out.
Hoshiko, sorry, 1 second. Hoshiko also has an English Twitter where all of his important tweets are translated into English. You can find that quite easily, and I'll actually see if I can. I'll see if I can. Sorry, my computer's messing up a bit. I'll see if I can find it and just share it on the group chat.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I'll add it to the description. Sorry, what was that, Winona?
I was going to say that she'll need to send it to you, so you can put it into the chat.
Well, I'll put it in the description so they see it. I'll put it right in there so everybody sees it in the future as well. Let me see. There was one other. Oh, right. Okay. So a great place that we can continue the discussion. Laura from JRock Vault brought this up, and I've put the link for this under VKH Press Links. There is a Facebook group that we are all in, V-Star, Fake Star, and VKH, and it's called Visual K and JRock Party. And I'm putting a link in the description. I'm seeing that the link might be broken, so I'm gonna just update that real quick. But if you Google Visual K and JRock Party, we all post in here. We all post, when we're doing different events, different streams and stuff like that. So it's a great way to keep up with VKH Live, to keep up with anything that any of the bands that V-Star or Fake Star is working with. So yeah, I would definitely check that out. Outside of that, if you want to help out VKH Press, the best way is to like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell to get notifications. I really sound like a YouTuber now, and it's so weird. But outside of that, I would say if you follow us on social media, which we've also got there, YouTube's kind of going through a phase where sometimes it doesn't want to send all the notifications all the time, but that would be the best way, because we also post all kinds of cool content for bands like, for bands that V-Star and Fake Star cover, Acme and Devoloof and Rides and Rebellion and Viva Rush and all those cool cats. Anything else, Laura? Anything else you want to plug? Did I get everything?
Just follow the V-Star page. We're trying to post more often about not only our main bands but other various bands that we work with. So keep an eye out on that. We're trying to provide more content. We're still a rather small team, so our hands are pretty full, but we're trying our best. So check it out. Check out our main bands, Rides, Viva Rush, Devoloof, all of those great guys. And I think we should make it that hashtag stay legal, stay kind. Keep it in mind.
There you go. Boom. There it is. All right, guys. Thanks so much. I fixed the link to the Facebook group. Every other link should be working. And we'll see you Saturday. We normally do these every Saturday evening for sure, and then we do bonus special ones like this one from time to time. So keep an eye out for that, for an article announcement on that. Gonna have a special stream and all of that. You guys are very welcome. Thanks for the live. Is very informative. Okay, cool. I'm glad.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for coming. And all right, we'll catch you guys later. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.